So, you have a chapter here, it's called Supercharged Change.
Yeah.
There are times in our lives when change seems supercharged, when it shakes the very foundation of who we are. Emotions run deep. What we fear may very well be reality, and we may be powerless to control or influence change itself. And then you talk about the time of your daughter. So tell us what you learned about supercharged change.
Oh, well, what I didn't realize, so the situation was that we were adopting our daughter from China, and we had a travel date, which you and I were working around in our schedules as we were working together with a client. And a week before the travel date, we could not go. Turns out the Chinese government was reorganizing adoption. So they put everything on hold. And over the course of about 4 months, we had no clue, A, if we were ever going to travel, B, if we were ever going to get the same child that we were had already bonded with on a piece of paper, you know. And it was horrifying. Now, the logical part of me would not have thought that I would have been so deeply affected. However, it was heart-wrenching, because we had this daughter, our daughter, in our lives already, in our hearts already, and it was so hard to think that we could not cross the ocean and meet her and bring her home. It was horrible, and so during that period of time, nobody knew what was going on. The Chinese government wasn't telling you where it was. They were in their own restructuring plan. The agents that we were working with, both in China and the United States, they could only get clues about what's happening, and they would give us hope, but there was no hope. They said, yeah, it's a possibility you may not get this child. It's a possibility that you may not get a child at all. And I was just heartbroken. And so what was interesting about it was really hard to work. It was hard to concentrate on anything. I went into therapy myself because I was just so distraught over the whole thing. It was heart-wrenching. So that was the first time in my life, because none of my parents had passed away or anything at that point in time, where I think I understood the depth of how change can affect you. And what I learned from that, it was a couple of things. On a practical basis, it was finding one person to talk to that was honest, that could be the person that would give me truth, and I could deal with truth better than lies or false hopes. And also someone that I could just be myself with and cry with, etc. And the other thing was that I also learned it was okay to not necessarily go to a baby shower that a friend was having because it was going to be really hard for me to go at that moment. And to beg off on that, and hopefully my friends would understand. So it was a very deep time, and following that, what I realized is that, wow, when somebody has something like that in their lives, number one, they have to take the time to process it. There's nothing wrong with them for doing that. And getting some very good professional help is incredibly important. And occasionally you might need meds. Because, during that period of time, it was so anxiety producing that I could barely function. So, and I recall even that we weren't quite sure if I was ever going to travel, so I always had backup plans with you. And had to even get other facilitators to potentially, if I'm going here, then someone's going to work with Roland here. If I'm going to go here, someone's going to work with Roland there. So it was a logistical nightmare, but it all came fine. And in fact, we got travel plans while we were working in Madison together. And I left 5 days later.
Wow,
So so it was all came out well.
All came out well. Well, the book is wonderful. Now we're expecting some more from you.
There will be 2 more. Yes.